You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Let's get spooky. This is our station, Boo, where we explore the dark and mysterious corners of the world of horror, and we know that you are dying to listen. Welcome to the Spooky and Kooky podcast of Earth Station Boo, where we talk all things horror. Introducing our haunted hosties with the mosties. We have our lovely Lisa.
Hello, groovy ghoulies.
We've got our kick-ass Karen.
What up, my horrorholics?
And I am your spooky Shannon. And today we are going to be talking about Midsommar. So, let's get spooky. Hey horrorholics, it's Shannon. Earth Station Boo has just launched its brand new merch store. It's time to get your hands on some killer gear. From our fun logo shirts, cozy hoodies, Let's Get Spooky stickers, and Horrorholics Anonymous totes, there's something for every one of our lovely little ghouls. We offer our spooky designs on many different types of products to fit your desires. But if you happen to see a missed opportunity, just let us know. And unlike most of Stephen King's adaptations, you know what I'm talking about, you won't be disappointed with the quality of the products. Head over to our link tree in our bio, grab your merch, show off your favorite horror podcast, and most of all, let's get spooky.
Well, the colder temperatures have finally arrived, and that can only mean one thing. No, that was the last promo, but it still means monsters. This is Jim from Monster Attack, reminding you to join us every week for a discussion on some of the great monster movies that impacted us throughout our lives. New episodes drop at 5 p.m. And remember, Monster Attack is a proud member of the ESO Network.
All right. So this film, an A24 film, released by or made by the same guy who made Hereditary. So Ari Aster. This is his healing journey from a horrible, terrible breakup, which you will definitely note the theme of that throughout this film. But we're talking about Midsommar, which a lot of people said was a ripoff of The Wicker Man. If you are familiar with that story, there's a lot of similarities. But ladies, let's talk about this film. Lisa, you want to give us a start?
Absolutely. And so you want my initial thoughts? So my initial thoughts is I do not think it's a ripoff of The Wicker Man. I think it's fantastic the way it was represented in the folklore and traditions of these isolated people in Sweden. I think they were in Sweden. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. I think it was really kind of an interesting, eerie look to what would happen if you were there with nothing. There's, just isolated and having to go along with the flow. So I loved it. And no, it's not a ripoff of Wicker Man.
For me, it was a beautifully done movie. Beautiful script, beautiful cinematography, beautiful landscaping. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I enjoyed the symbology of it. Yeah, I get the people saying, oh, this is a ripoff of this is a ripoff of that. It's, even though people see it as a ripoff, I see it as a homage to those that came before to tell a story. But this is a folk horror that is in, Europe, like in, Sweden. It's not takes place in, another, and I didn't take, I forget where Wicker Man took place in, but you get the older sense. England. Scotland. Well, you get the older scent with the Norwegians and the Swedens and, with their area, dealing with Vikings and stuff like that. because when you look at them, they are of Viking Norse heritage. So you got their perspective with their runes and, their mythologies and their rituals. So I believe like if you're gonna watch this, watch it with an open mind because it's beautiful.
Hmm. Oh, yeah. This film is stunning to watch. I mean, even on like your phone. Like I've watched this on the big screen. I've seen it on beautiful HD TVs. In preparing for this podcast, I even watched part of it when I was on the bus so I was watching it on my phone and it was still beautiful to look at and to watch, even on my little iPhone. So Ari did a fantastic job with a cinematographer to make this a beautiful film. The attention to detail throughout the film, it was there. It was there. I mean, this movie, I think it was budgeted for 9 million. I mean, that's like next to nothing in Hollywood right now for a budget.
Yeah.
Like there are TV shows that have a bigger budget than this movie did. And yet you can tell every cent was spent wisely because it was so well done. I think anybody who thinks it's a ripoff of The Wicker Man did not look at the depth that this movie has and wasn't really paying attention to the film, to be perfectly honest. I know when it came out in 2019, that's all I heard from a lot of people. It's like, oh, it's just a modern take on The Wicker Man, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, no. I mean, yes, there's a lot of like stuff that like overlaps, but like what it's overlapping with is stuff that is common through a lot of cultures, a lot of beliefs, and they're in a similar region. So yeah, there should be some overlap in thought processes and like how they do stuff. But guess what? You can still compare half of that stuff to the Mormon church in Utah. Like, like it's not, there's more to it. But the movie itself, it was fantastic. And I think for a horror film, it changed the way you could see horror. And I mean, A24 is kind of known for it being the art house and elevated horror or whatever, but it changed how you tell a horror story. And we'll get into all the reasons why. Actually, let's go ahead and kind of get into that. One of the things is the fact that this movie is set mostly during the daytime because they're in Sweden. They're there when it's, the summer solstice. So they have the midnight sun. So it is nice and bright at like 11 o'clock at night. So almost everything happens during daylight, which you would think that's not going to be scary. But yet this movie has some very horrifying things that happen during the daylight. How do we feel about all of that? What made it more terrifying?
What made it terrifying for me, like everything taking place in the daylight, is more the fact that they're tripping. Okay, they're taking some mushrooms and they're tripping out.
They're constantly on something.
They're constantly on something, and poor girl, she didn't want to do it because she wasn't ready, and she was basically forced into doing it.
Fucking Christian.
And so her trip, it wasn't just Christian; it was his friend. He's like, well, we can't have different highs, blah 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 blah. And his friend, Christian, was like, don't let him pressure you. Just, And she's like, no, I'll do it. And her high, like I could tell, like her experience was going to be nada. Her experience was going to be bad because you have to prepare yourself for something like that. And and for her not to be able to prepare herself, I felt bad for her.
Yeah.
Stupid man.
There's a reason he was called the fool.
Yeah. And also, it was kind of, if you're coming from a region where you have a certain hours of daylight, certain hours of nighttime, going to another region where your days and nights get so confusing, that's horrific.
Yeah.
Like, we're getting, 12 hours, sons? What? Because I know, like, there's some areas up, in Alaska and up in those northern areas where you get some daylight for 24 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine that? I would be fearful.
I actually probably wouldn't mind that. Please note, I am the weirdo who also worked third shift for 5 years, who had to sleep during the daytime for a long time. So sleeping with the sun's out isn't going to phase me the way it phases other people.
I need some sleep. I mean, I need dark time to sleep.
Oh yeah, no, I don't.
I need dark time to sleep. Like, let it be dark. Yay.
Yep. Lisa, how about you?
I think, well, besides the fact that they were on drugs and, the mushrooms and having hallucination, which made them more vulnerable to things, especially, the girl who wasn't exactly prepared because of all the tragedy she had gone through. The fact that it was light for so long, the sunshine was out, it also makes you feel naked in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Which is horrible because your body's like on a timer and you're used to certain, and you're in this new area with this, it makes you feel really vulnerable. So that definitely added to the horror, because I think if I was in the sun that long and I wasn't used to it and everything, and if I was tripping, which whatever, but it would make me feel so horrified and vulnerable that, anything would make me jump. So I think it definitely added and made it got me a bunch of times. That movie made me uncomfortable, which was great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially since we watch so much horror that we are desensitized to some of it. I think the daylight aspect actually was brilliant. I think it was a brilliant move. One, I think it showed how even all these horrific things, they were done in the daylight, which means it was normal, it was acceptable, it was just another Tuesday. And having some of these horrible things happen in broad daylight, I think unnerves you, because it's like you can see it all. It's all there. Yeah. It's all boom, right there in front of you. There's nothing hiding. It's all out in the open, and you see all of it. And it's like, oh man. Like, wow, okay. But I think it also shows that even the sun is not a safe space. Even the sun can kill. Even the light can be bad. And so I don't know. Psychologically, I think it was a brilliant move, and I truly enjoyed it. I loved the fact that it was so bright and beautiful to watch. That it was just one of these deals where you're like, kind of like how Dani was when she first entered into into their space, where she was just like, wow, it's beautiful. Like, it disarms you. It puts you off balance for the whole rest of the film. So then when all these horrible things are happening, you're just like,
yeah,
I can see everything. And it's kind of pretty, and I don't know how I feel about that.
It kind of reminds me of that song when when she first walk in and she's like, because she is immediately disarmed. And it reminds me of the Smashing Pumpkins song, like "Disarm You with a Smile."
Yeah.
And it was kind of
Yeah.
like that. She was disarmed and vulnerable, and I was like,
Yep.
that's where you want to be.
Right.
Right.
Also, in most horror movies, the light is supposed to be a safe space.
Yeah.
And it's not, which is what makes it even more brilliant because you're like, oh, it's daylight. Oh, damn, it doesn't matter. So you don't have any light to hide to because it's happening in the daytime too.
Yep.
So, that's the psychology of that was brilliant.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this thing just overarching, like we talked about how beautiful it is, but like you have the eerie chanting, the musical score alone, like even like the very first like musical piece that you hear at the beginning of the film, it's more than just music. It's actually like the rhythm of the movie, and it flows and it works with it all, and it's designed to help build the tension and the emotions. But then you also have the paintings and the tapestries and the rituals and everything that also kind of like tied into the suspense and the tension that was building, because you go through all of this stuff and you see all these things and you hear all this stuff, and you're kind of like taking it in, and then you have this ending and you're just like, the fuck did I just go through? So how do we feel about all of that kind of stuff? Karen, do you want to start us off?
Okay, so for me, the music, even though it adds that tension to it, it was more like, for me, the music, I equated the music as the forest breathing and speaking and talking to you and to the people around them. Like it's trying to become one, like trying to make you to become one.
Like
with
Keely
everything.
said in the earlier.
Yeah, like you said earlier, you want to feel, you want to hear, you want to taste. That's just, that's the most disarming thing ever for me. And for her to have those hallucinations where plants are coming out of your hands, feet, everything, it's just beautiful. Probably forgetting what we're talking about because I was thinking more of like I was thinking about the flowers and everything when you were talking about, because there were some beautiful flowers.
So like the music
Uh,
and the paintings and the tapestry,
oh,
how all of that kind of like built the tension and it was kind of like a slow burn up to what ended up being the finale of the film.
For me, it wasn't a slow burn. It was more of, I'm enjoying the flow of what's happening. The pictures tells its own story, and if you look at most of the tapestry, it tells you what's going on.
It tells you what's going to happen in the film.
Yeah, it tells you what's going to happen in the film. So I'm like, man, I'm just going to go ahead and groove to this. Like, I'm groovy, It for me, it was like, I am in this horror and I'm loving it because I just want to be with these people. They're so loving. I don't know if that makes me crazy or horrifying, but just to like be there and experience the for them singing, playing their flutes, and looking at all the tapestry, I felt home. I felt at home.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to live here. But they might not want me because I'm Black. I want to live here.
Lisa, what about you? What did you think about like the music and the paintings and everything?
It was so perfect to set up the atmosphere. And you have to watch it again because it seems like you miss little details every time. Oh, yeah. And you're right. It did tell a story of what was going to happen. But if you weren't paying attention, You didn't really know, but it was the funny part about it is I agree with Karen. It was very comforting because it got you absorbed into the flow of the film and you couldn't stop watching even if you wanted to, because it's just the whole everything, the music, the tapestries. You want to know more. And I forgot what his friend from that village name was for a second.
Hele.
Yeah. With him narrating and talking about the history, it just kind of all absorbed you into it. So yeah, it was definitely a big part of the film.
Yep. I mean, in preparing for this podcast, I watched a 7-hour video and a follow-up video that a creator on YouTube made. We'll definitely be posting it in all of our social media stuff. In there, they made some like really good points about a lot of the different things. And the movie sets you up to side with Dani and to feel for her and to connect with her specifically and her journey. So wanting and feeling welcomed with the cult, because that's what they are, was absolutely how you're supposed to feel. It's absolutely what you're supposed to think. It's absolutely what you want, what they were wanting out of it. But they also wanted you to question everything. And I feel like seeing the tapestries and the paintings and stuff, like the one showing the love ritual where a girl takes her pubic hair and puts it into her guy's food and like her menstrual blood and putting it into his drink. Like, come on. Like, that was some pretty graphic tapestry work, but it was interesting. And you were like, I'm disturbed but intrigued all at the same time. Why was that shown to me? And then like you get to the end of the movie and homeboy's picking, pubic hair out of his mouth after he took a big bite of a pie, and he's like, what the hell? And you're like, oh, like, and what's gonna happen now. Yeah, it's like, what she did, what was happening. And so you have all of that build, and it's this like slow build or slow burn. It's just like this constant like adding to, then when you get to the final end and he cheats on his girlfriend and impregnates this child essentially and gets burned up in a bear suit like he should. Like, you're like, yep,
but the thing is,
we're good with this.
Yep.
I mean, the thing is, like, I did not like the way he did not have he did not give a choice, because they gave him that medicine to lower his inhibition.
But I'm going to say this, from the get-go, he was interested in her.
Yeah.
He constantly looked at her.
He was.
He constantly was like, hey, girl, hey. And had Dani not been there, he would have probably done it sooner.
Probably. But also at the same time, I'm like, let's just say for sake reason, they give him that drink because I assume he told her no. If he told her no, you should let it go. But why give him a drink to lower his inhibitions?
He didn't tell her no, though.
He did. So, but they still gave him a drink to lower his inhibitions.
He didn't tell her. He never said no.
I thought he did.
No.
He
never said no.
He wanted her.
He never said no. And actually, if you look at the original script, he kind of goes, well, I'm here with her. And they're like, it doesn't matter. If you want to go with her, you can go with her. We won't stop you. We won't even tell Dani. And he goes, oh, okay. But Christian is selfish. We'll get into him later.
Yeah.
We'll get into that motherfucker later. Kind of going off of what we kind of like led to here. Is the cult a trap or a really twisted way of healing?
It's kind of a twisted way of healing.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, yeah. You know what? It is both, because you're bringing, unsuspecting people in because they need 4 outsiders, 4 insiders, and the ninth one to be judged by, the May Queen. So in essence, it is kind of a trap. But it's also like the rituals are like dealing with trauma, you know? So like it's a two-edged sword. Like if you want to leave, you're going to die anyways.
Yeah.
Because they ain't going to let you leave. But also at the same time, like what if you're willing to participate? Like you don't have the same trauma as everybody else, because everyone's going through something like Dani. But say if you had like a character who's a foil to Dani, who's like, I want to live this life. Will they kill that person or let that person go?
But here's the thing. Cults don't go after people like that.
True.
They specifically go after the people who don't have a firm foundation of support from friends and family. They go after people who've been through some traumatic shit. They go after individuals who they can easily say, look at all the good things that we have that we can offer, and we can fulfill all those needs that you have lacking at this current moment in time. Let us take you in. Let us give you all that stuff.
Yeah.
So somebody walking in going, hey, I want to be part of this. They're going to be like, why?
But this thinking, like, I understand like some cults want that broken person, but there is some people who want to belong. Even though they're not broken, those people want to belong to something, like,
well, then they are broken.
In my mind, I'm not broken.
Because wanting to belong means that you don't have some place that you belong.
Okay, we can look at that.
You don't have a family. You don't have the structure, which means you would be a perfect candidate.
But I have a family and I have a structure, but I want to belong as well. I want to belong with you guys. I want everyone to be my family. Like, come into my family. I'm not a cult, but come into my family.
AKA Karen has a cult, and we have now just been told that we are part of it. Okay, cool.
What if we let it be, this interesting, like, what if you had like somebody who's like a part of a different cult coming into this cult? What would happen?
They would probably still be sacrificed. Because the thing is they have to kind of be like Dani, where they kind of welcome a lot of the traditions of this new one. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm going to think about it though.
Yeah. But Lisa, your thoughts? Trap, weird sort of healing, or a little bit of both?
It's kind of a little bit of both, because they get these people that are outsiders, because apparently there's lots of inside going on.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. And then it is a form of healing. It is a form of healing, because everybody, like when the girls are all crying together and all that kind of stuff, it's like
the first time Dani had anybody cry with her.
Yeah. And it's a healing, twisted healing, but it's a healing, and they get rid of all that energy and expel it so they feel better. So it's kind of both. And then when the people who are old have to, do their thing, you think about it, it makes sense, because they don't want them to be feeble in mind or have to worry about taking care of them if they can't mentally. So it's kind of both, because everybody's accepted it and they don't let anybody leave who tries to run away. But then again, there's lots of things that they do that are internal healing with each other. So in their twisted kind of way. But so I'd say it was definitely a combination of both.
Yeah, no, it's definitely both. And I also think it depends on which character's point of view you're looking at from. Like, if you're looking at it from Josh's point of view, it's a trap. It's this this hellscape, essentially. It's this corrupt system. You look at it from Sydney and Simon's point of view. When they
it's a trap.
Yeah, they're like, it's a trap. No, we're getting the fuck out of Dodge. Mark, he was too stupid to even know which side was up, so he wouldn't have known. And Christian, for me,
I don't think Josh is like, it's a trap. He's like, wow, as an anthropologist, this is very interesting. He's living the life that most anthropologists don't get to live.
I think he realized it was a trap. I think that's one of the reasons why he wanted to be able to document as much as he could before he could get out of there. But he also thought because he was friends with Pele and he got the elders' approval, that he was exempt from the trap. But Christian, he understood it was a trap, but he was too stupid and selfish to do anything about it until it was too late.
Stupid man.
But for Dani, it wasn't a trap. It was healing. It helped her with her grief. It helped her feel connected and like she belonged. And even before the start of the movie, I think she never felt like she belonged. I think even with her family, she didn't feel like she belonged, because it felt like she was always trying to like fix things and take care of things. And there was this like people pleasing tendencies that you don't get from having just a shitty boyfriend. You get from having a shitty family who didn't support you as your own individual person, and kind of thing.
And for me, with Dani's character, it was more like, yeah, she is a people pleaser, but she's also a caretaker, because she's trying to make sure her sister is okay, because she knows her sister has a mental illness, and she was in a manic depressive state, and so she didn't want anything to happen. And she didn't want anything to happen to her, and she's trying to get her parents. It's like, hey, y'all need to like, get your daughter. She called her parents several times, and the only person she could lean on was dickhead, Christian. And he's not like, oh, this is just her pretending, how she is.
Yeah.
And because, she's trying to be the pillar of this family, the foundations are cracking. The foundations broke when they died.
So the thing is she shouldn't have had to been the foundation for that.
She shouldn't have. But there's always that one person in that family that is that foundation. And unfortunately, being that foundation, she lost everybody.
Yeah.
You don't know anything about her extended family. You don't know anything about her grandma, grandpa.
The thing is she wasn't even in the same state.
No, she was not.
She was in New York City. They were in Minnesota. So there was nothing she could have done.
No.
Exactly.
Nothing. And, I love Dani, but you don't call your boyfriend screaming into the phone. I know you're hurt emotionally, but
she just got the phone call that her family was dead.
Yeah, I know.
And so she called the person who should have been, hey, I'm on my way. Right. Instead, she got the dickhead who, even while he was consoling her, was barely doing it.
Yeah.
She was laying in his lap and he was rubbing her arm, but he wasn't consoling her.
No, he was not.
He wasn't being there for her. I mean, I've been in grief where, I've been in a state like that. I didn't have my back to the person who was consoling me.
And that's why
face to face. They were hugging me face to face. And
that's why I like crying to women, because we understand.
Yes. But it's one of those deals of multiple times she was failed by the people who were supposed to be there for her and love her and take care of her and give her support. And, she just never got it. And Christian, he's all right. We're going to go on our Christian tangent.
Good. Good.
He's a coward.
What level of asshole is he?
Okay, you know what level?
He is a coward.
He's a dick douche. Okay, he is a dick douche. Yeah, that's the term that I use for men on that level. You can be a douche, you can be a dick, you can be an asshat, but if you're a dick douche, he's a coward. He cannot, speak his mind. He cannot communicate properly at all. He's a thief and he's lazy. Can't do his own work, have to steal somebody else's work. Dude been working on his thing for ever. Oh, I'm just going to go ahead and do the same thing. Lazy.
Yeah.
He is emotionally unavailable to Dani. Very much so. Yeah, to everybody. But mostly her, because, they've been in a relationship for
4 years.
3 years. 4 years and 2 weeks. And she can't even remember her birthday. But Pile, who's a friend, not an acquaintance, remembers her birthday. It's the little gestures like that. He doesn't even do those little gestures. He was reminded that it was a birthday and gave her a small little slice of cake.
Only after Pile told him.
Only half
Yeah.
the penny they told them. And
Yeah.
that little sad candle. That
Mhm.
should have been a sign. That was a sign right there. I was
It was
like, girl,
actually.
I was like, girl,
It
he ain't
was
for you.
actually.
He ain't your soulmate. Run.
Ari
That's what.
actually Ari actually confirmed that in an interview that the reason why Christian couldn't keep the candle lit was because their relationship wasn't going to last.
Yeah, I was like, just run the other way.
Yep.
Go somewhere.
Yep.
So he was a massive, massive dick douche. I mean, I can't, excuse him, choosing to mate with the girl, but at the same time, I'm like, their rituals for falling in love kind of
Well, and especially since in the original script, she was supposed to be 16. And if he's getting his doctorate, that means he's in his mid-20s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. At least in his mid-20s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And with how lazy he is, I could see him being older.
Yeah, sure.
Piece of shit. Okay, Lisa, your turn. You get to trash talk Christian.
Okay. Yeah. First of all, he was so unsympathetic to Dani.
Mhm.
I mean, you're right. He was a coward because he was talking about going on the trip and he wasn't going to tell her at first, but he was so afraid that it would cause more trauma that he told her to come. And then he's like told the guys, but he always followed what the guys had to say, his guy friends had to say half the time. He didn't care about Dani. He kept talking about breaking up with her, never did anything because he was too afraid. He wasn't, and this young little pagan girl, Maya. Yeah. He was looking at her the whole time. I don't care what anybody else says. I saw him look at, and he did such a great job with this character. He wanted her, but he was like, yeah. And then he definitely deserved what he got 100%. Because he didn't care. He didn't care about Dani. He didn't care about anybody but himself, stealing the work from his friend, all that kind of stuff. Just a big dick douche, just like Karen said.
I mean, he's a dick douche.
I mean, he's just a slimy piece of scum. I mean,
he's schwarmy.
He's an asshole on like an umpteenth level. There's nothing redeeming about him. There's not one single thing redeeming about him.
He's a whole ass.
Yeah. He made Dani feel bad for trying to emotionally connect and get support from him in their romantic relationship. She had family issues and he told her to get over it and to forget about it. It's not that big of a deal, despite the fact of knowing all the shit her sister has put her through thus far and knowing that her sister can do some really heinous stuff. Didn't want to support her in any way, shape, or form. Like, and we haven't even gotten to like the trip portion. Like, I only have covered the first 2 minutes of the film. Like, and you already see he does not care about her, and he makes her feel bad for asking for something.
Gaslighting.
Constantly. I wouldn't even put it as gaslighting because I feel like it's even more than that. Because he's
deflecting.
Yeah, but let's take for example the whole trip situation. So his friends mention the trip in front of her because they're under the impression that he has talked to her about it.
Coward.
Finds out he hasn't, and she's like, "Wait, you're going to Sweden? When were you going to tell me this?" And he's like, "Oh, I already did." "No, you didn't."
"No, you didn't."
And so then when she's wanting to have the conversation, he's like, "I already apologized." And she goes, I'm not wanting an apology. I want to just talk about the trip and like what's the detail? Like, I need to know what is going on. And I want to know why you felt like you couldn't tell me that you were going to go on this trip that's in 2 weeks that you've already paid for. I need to understand these things. If you don't want to tell me, then just say, "Hey, I don't want to tell you those." But like, there needs to be a conversation. And instead it was, "How dare you make me feel bad for wanting to do something for myself?" Bitch.
Deflection.
Like, how far up your ass is your head? Like, Seriously, I think it's doing loops.
No
I don't know how that's
communication.
possible, but it's doing loops. But like everything. And then to just like, man, like she's just like really like bummed out about this trip thing, but she's here. I'm gonna bring her up. Oh, and by the way, she's coming on the trip, but she's not coming on the trip.
He's like, y'all told me to ask her. They're like, what? When did we see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I'm gonna say this. I think Pele had a crush on her from like the get-go.
Mhm.
And he
Yeah.
was just like,
I'm so glad you came.
ooh, with all the things that we have going on, she's gonna be a great addition for me for coming back. Like, hey guys. But if I play my cards right, I could get the girl.
Mhm.
And he did. Because that kiss had way more chemistry between her and Pele than her and Christian ever had.
Yeah.
Like when that kiss happened, I was like, oh, they're both into that. Oh. There's a small part of me who was kind of like, can we have a second movie and like those two together? I mean, I know like that's kind of like the foreshadowing is that they're going to be the next like couple or whatever, but still. No, but Christian is just a complete piece of shit, and you can tell that by the company he keeps as well. You can tell because Josh is an arrogant asshole who only cared about himself and his academics.
Mhm.
I mean, if you really think about it, like, yeah, he kind of like had a little misgivings on like certain different like little things, but you could tell that he only felt that way because culturally it's different. It's not because he actually gave a fuck about anybody else. Mark is just, again, a fucking idiot. Like, he's just a
For me,
complete, like, inconsiderate asshole.
he is inconsiderate and a druggie
Yeah.
bad that way.
Mhm.
But for me, like Josh comes off as probably a first generation college student, and so he has to do well, and everything's a competition for him.
Yeah.
This is coming from a black person, okay? Because he wants to do well. You can see that he wants to do well. Yeah, he's absorbed in his own little world, and he's kind of selfish, but he has to be selfish. Like when Christians talk about doing his thesis on that.
It was the arrogance, though,
Yeah.
that makes me feel like it's more than all of that, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
There was a level of arrogance that he had that was almost like a superiority thing, where he truly did believe that he was better and smarter than everybody else in the room, even when he was supposed to be learning from somebody.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and to me, that's what I don't like. That's where I'm kind of like, you know what? Come on, dude. Like when they're sitting there saying, hey, no, you can't take pictures. Hey, no, you can't do this because it's not respectful to sit there and say, no, I'm better than that and I'm going to do it anyways.
Well, Pele said you must be discreet when you take your pictures too. But then you see the dude with the camera all out, and I'm like, that's not discreet.
Yeah. Well, discreet. And then he was told by the elders, you are not allowed to take pictures. And what did he do? He snuck in and tried to take pictures.
Exactly.
Like he got what was coming to him. I mean, everything you said can be true, but he was disrespectful and he was an asshole.
Yep. He thought he was above their rituals and all that. He thought he knew better than them.
Yeah, and Mark was again an idiot. And even Pele, I mean, homeboy knows how to manipulate.
Oh yeah, he does.
He played all those suckers.
It comes from like, having to try to get people to come to their village.
Mm-hmm. Because you know that this happened more than once.
Yeah.
I mean, like this whole big thing only happens every 90 years, but they had to like have had other ritualistic things. Like I think his parents died in like
a fire,
but I think it was a ritual fire.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think there's like other rituals that they know about that are similar to the stuff that they did in this film, which kind of goes into the folklore and then the fairy tales and the Wizard of Oz and all of these like fun little connections in the story. Karen, I know you were really excited about a lot of that stuff. Do you want to start us?
Well, looking at the story from the outside or from the inside out, all the tapestry work that was presented is a fairy tale. It tells you what's going to happen if you pay close attention to it.
Mhm.
If you just look at it as a picture, then you're going to be lost.
Yeah.
But the fairy tale aspect of it was more of the story that I garnered from it. It was a mix of, for me, it was a mix of different stories. It was a mix of the Wicker Man, the burning of the sacrifices, the ritual. You have the rituals that were happening,
Yeah.
life and death, a circle of life. And then you have Wizard of Oz, where, Dorothy is lost, Dani, and then the three men that come along to help, supposed to help her, but they don't help her, and they get dispatched like they should. I like to say that Mark, the idiot, is, the straw man,
Scarecrow.
scarecrow. Then you have Christian, the cowardly lion, who ends up being a cowardly bear. Cowardly bear. Stuffed in a bear suit. And then, you have Josh as the Tin Man, because in a way he was more automatic, robotic, like a Tin Man. So, and I saw like a lot of things like happening in the movie, little Easter eggs here and there. Like she's seeing her family, her dead family, but if you focus on different areas of the movie, her sister is there.
Yeah.
Like in the trees, you could see her sister.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In different flowers, you see, her family members.
Mhm.
And this whole free love, free giving of drugs. They just give these drugs out, this people. Oh my God. Like everybody's drinking this mushroom tea. And it sets them on a whole new level of fantasy almost, because I never tripped out. I mean, I've smoked before, but I never tripped out. I never had that whole high thing going on. I thought about trying shrooms, but I'm like, I need somebody here because I don't want to be by myself. But if I have a bad trip, like Dani did, she had a bad trip
Yeah.
and she ran away. But when she was with other people that was going to be her rock, she was okay. And everything looked like she was in the Fey world. When you looked through her eyes, everything was beautiful and bright. And the trees and the grass was like, she was becoming one with them. And she was like the Fey queen of the court, the way she was dressed. And it was just this fairy tale that is a dark fairy tale because of what happens in this dark fairy tale.
Yeah.
Like the two people, the two older people that sacrificed themselves, they committed like seppuku, which is an honorable death in Japanese. I don't know if I would fall off a cliff, but they did. That was their honorable death. And in a way, they decided how they're going to go out anyways, because you get to be 72 and then you die.
Yeah. 72.
Yeah. 72.
And that's what was Pele was talking about. Like, what's happened after when you get to 72? And he's like, eh.
Yeah.
And I'm
I
like
like how
some of those
she
guys
asked him
are
that
older, but
question and he
okay.
was goofy about it. Like Josh was asking him questions and he was like, "Oh yeah, it's this, this, and this." And she goes, "What happens after 72?" And he's like, "What?" And he was kind of goofy with her. I was like, I'm like, thank you for being goofy with her in that moment.
Yeah. Like, thank you. She needed somebody. She needed a friend.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
Chile was definitely that friend.
Yeah.
And then you have these maidens from the dancing around the pole reminds me of the story of the seven maidens going out to dance at night, and their father couldn't figure out why they were why their shoes were so scuffed up in the morning and why they're so tired. But these maidens go out and danced every night, and there was like rows of them. So it was like every single element was a fairy tale.
Yeah.
Every single element was beautiful.
And if you think about it, fairy tales were horrifying.
Yeah. I mean, when you get to that certain part, that's horrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, like, look at, Cinderella. I mean, it was beautiful. And then the shoe and the sisters had to cut the feet off. That's horrifying. I'm not cutting my feet to fit a shoe. No. No.
Which we should definitely do some more folklore retellings.
Like, I ain't marrying the prince. Fuck that. I ain't mutilating myself.
As far as like the whole Wizard of Oz aspect, I agree. But Pele was the wizard because he was manipulating them to do whatever he wanted them to do, and fairy tale, the seven maidens and the tapestries. It was kind of like, you put a spell on him by doing this and this and this, and then you get your prince, but you only need him for breeding. So, and then you get the special child out of it. So that was very fairy tale like, and just seeing it through Dani's eyes was definitely so much. You notice when you see it through her eyes, everything's brighter and more colorful. And she was like Queen Mab, the fairy queen, and with a horrible, and it was a horrible end because, like Shannon said, it's a fairy tale. They're not always like, oh, it's going to be great. We're going to live happily ever after. No, that doesn't usually happen without some kind of darkness going on. So, there's so many of those elements in there. And I think that's what also makes it. But you got to pay attention.
Yeah. First watch, you're not going to notice a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But what I think was kind of cool was that between the original script, which was written by people who are from that region, who know the history, as well as then when Ari came on, he actually used a book called The Golden Bow.
The Golden Bow?
Yeah.
I know what that book
used
is.
that as like a reference for some of his rewriting. So this movie isn't just about specifically Swedish folklore or anything like that. It is very loosely based off of a lot of things, and it has a lot of elements to it. I mean, even somebody tried to compare each of the deaths as part of the four elements. So you had earth, water, fire, air, whole nine. And so it's interesting to see where they took inspiration and how they pulled it together, because they didn't want to be disrespectful and say that, because there was also some nods to them being Nazis or related to Nazis. There's the obvious racism with them not liking those with a darker complexion, but there was a lot of things that they were kind of attributing where they're like, hey, by the way, that's not like, this is based off of like real things, but it's not real. Like, we don't believe that Swedish people are all racist and part of this cult. Like there had to be like some like, hey, we're just pulling from like some small thingies. But it was interesting to see all the many different layers that they were pulling from. And the fairy tale and folklore aspect of it was extremely heavy. But then you come to where folklore becomes history and how it blended together. And I thought that was kind of interesting to see how they blended a lot of that stuff and made the connections to tell this fictional story. So obviously this is a foreign setting, and there is a lot of foreign language playing like a barrier. Do we think that kind of helped in the storytelling, making it a little bit more eerie?
Oh yeah, because you don't even understand. Like the tourists don't understand what's going on. They could be like talking about, we're gonna sacrifice these people, blah 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 blah. Or they'd be like, these are the most beautiful people we've ever met. They're so kind, yada yada yada. You don't know what they're saying. As an audience, we do, but as them, it can kind of be creepy. It kind of be creepy.
Yeah,
because I'd be like, I don't know what they're saying, but I'm gonna go with the flow. Hopefully, don't get killed. Okay, tread lightly.
Yeah. And we never knew if we knew what was going on, the audience, but how do we know that they were actually translating it right? Back to them, which it made another error. You're in alone in a foreign land, you think you're getting it translated correctly by someone who
Mhm.
says, but they're not really. So it gives a nice eerie, it does give a nice eerie feel because they're
Mhm.
just believing everything instead of being precautious until a little bit later. So
Till it's too late.
it's too late for them for sure. So yeah, that definitely adds to the eeriness of it because are they, and they seem to lie so easily too.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, no problem. They
Yeah.
went there, so that added to the eeriness.
Yeah, I think it's all part of that keeping you unbalanced. Like the way that they kept the characters unbalanced made you yourself feel unbalanced. And I think that the language barrier was part of it,
Mm-hmm.
of not knowing what they were really saying or doing, or when they were saying something off and you're sitting there going, they don't know, they don't know. And you're kind of freaking out about it a little bit. Even though Dani is the one who officially says that Christian needs to be killed, and even though, yes, he is a steaming pile of bear shit.
Dick douche.
Dick
Dick
douche.
douche. Yeah, he deserved to be punished, but did he really deserve to be set aflame while alive and wide awake? Probably not. I mean, I think that might
I
be a
feel
little
more
bit.
sorry for the bear.
Yeah, me
Right?
too. I
To
felt
have that
bad for
piece
the
of
bear.
shit stuffed into him. So she's not really a. Is she a traditional final girl? Or does, because of how her role at the end of the movie changes, does this redefine her?
I mean, for me, she's not really a final girl because she didn't go through the same trials and tribulations of other final girls. But she's also a victor who came out. She was also a victim who came out a victor because she found a family.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that in a way, she is kind of, but not really, because she didn't, go through the same things like Jamie Lee Curtis does in all the Final Girl movies. Um, so for me, she's a victor. She's
I
triumphant
mean,
against her trauma.
but I mean, she did battle through quite a bit of stuff. She was traumatized quite a bit. So, like, what? Just because she didn't have a masked guy chasing her with a machete, she couldn't be a final girl.
Well, for me, she's not a final girl. She's a protagonist, but I don't see her as a final girl. I see her as, someone who became part of the colony,
Okay.
community,
Commune.
commune. I'm like, I had to think of it as like, there's like so many C's words that mean the same thing.
Lisa, what about you? What did you think?
In a way, she kind of is because even though she didn't traditionally like to have the masked guy chasing her, she did battle through some serious mental issues. She had to battle against the guys and Christian. And then, she came out and she got to have the final say and killed the douche dick,
Mm-hmm.
And so technically, she's a final girl in that way. And she came out of all that trauma and rose victorious, which is usually what final girls do. So I would say she is.
Okay. I think she redefined it because she isn't a final girl in the same sense as a lot of other ones. However, she did overcome her main antagonist.
Christian.
Yeah, who
Mhm.
was Christian, but she did also survive the cult.
Yeah.
She wasn't murdered by them. So I think she redefined it a little bit, where she was the sole survivor of the outsiders.
Which
So she,
I want to know how many came in because it seemed more than.
I think after like the first day, a bunch left.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
Like I think they kind of were like, I've seen it explained in a few different ways, and the way I kind of understood it was, so like with like that first day when they get there and they're all just hanging out in that big massive meadow before they go to like the actual like commune. I think there was like the testing grounds of like who's going to be good, who's not going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, Kaylee's group is good. And then what was the other guy's name?
Oh God.
Ingor?
Ingemar.
Ingmar.
Imarg.
Anyways, his two,
yeah.
so Cindy and Simon, they would be good for other sacrifices because there was a curiosity and there was an acceptance for the culture and everything. And I think because you could see a lot more people who were not in commune clothing, but I feel like even the individuals who are from the commune but were coming from the outside world in, even what they were wearing kind of gave commune vibes.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. Like even Pele, like even though he was in like street clothes, he still kind of gave off like commune vibes. If that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
So, anyways, I feel like you could still tell who was originally part. And like you saw like a bunch of people kind of like once I got there, they're like, oh, you guys are like Amish or like you guys are like roughing it out here, peace out Cub Scouts. And I think they were able to like filter them out, if that makes sense. Going, okay, well, we know we can keep XYZ.
Right.
They'll be great for the sacrifices. Let's just go ahead and get rid of the extras. Which, hey, if it works. I mean, you have to think like how long has this community been together that like every 90 years they can do something like this, as well as the simple fact of that inbred child.
Oh,
that kind of inbreeding is generations. I mean, like generations worth of inbreeding in order to get to that point. You have to be thinking at least 300-400 years they've been doing this.
Yeah, and then all those May Queen pictures.
Mm-hmm. Well, the May Queen could be every year.
Oh yeah, true.
Because the ceremony is only every 90 years, but the May Queen is every year. But
because they even said they bring in like they have to bring in new blood.
Yeah.
Which that was Dani.
Mm-hmm.
And also
that
like
was,
it kind of reminds me of the Rumspringen.
Yeah.
That the Irish have. And sometimes, they go out and sometimes they come back with, a partner.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's true. So we kind of talked about how like this film kind of builds and builds and builds. And then you have like this crescendo at the end. Do you guys feel like Dani's grief and her going through her grief cycle on top of the deterioration of Christian and Dani's relationship, on top of the utter chaos that Christian and his friends' relationships are going through, do you think all of that help build to when we do have these horrific things like the old couple sacrificing themselves, or Christian even finding Simon flayed open? Do you think like all of that is what kind of helped build the horror and the suspension and like the emotional reactions throughout the film?
Oh yeah. I definitely think it did. I think, you think it's safe for a minute, then all of a sudden this stuff starts happening and you're like, oh my God, here he is flayed open and everything. I think it did build the tension for the finale, and because you never knew what was going to happen yet next, it kind of just like building and building and building and building. And it was just like little bits here and there in between the beautiful stuff, which definitely worked.
Oh yeah, it really did work. It amplified, what's going to happen if you paid attention to the tapestry. It amplified what's going to happen next. Because without that building blocks, it will probably like fall flat. But you have your May Queen planting her seeds. You have Christian doing the deed.
Mm-hmm.
And then running away from embarrassment because he like snapped out of that stupor that he was in, and then getting caught in the chicken coop with poor Simon, who was barely alive because you could see his lungs breathe in.
Which biologically
and then
makes no sense.
I know, but biologically
Yeah.
makes no sense, but it was kind of creepy. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That added a little layer of creepy factor because I was like, they did the spread eagle on him. Why is he still alive? Because he would be dead.
Well, I mean, the lungs can't inflate. The diaphragm is what causes your lungs to inflate. And so with them not being in the cavity with the diaphragm, they're not going to.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm
But that was
explaining
still
it for our
creepy.
listeners who may not understand the
Yeah.
biologics of it.
And, and then poor, I would say, Dick Douche gets shot in the face with powder that renders him unable to move, unable to speak. He's just a vegetable. And then you get your final act. And you know what your final act is at this point.
Yeah.
And for me, I was like anticipating it. I wanted it to happen. I was like, we finally got to the part. Let it happen. Let it go free. I don't know. What does that say about me wanted it to happen?
They
poor bear.
sympathized with Dani.
I know, but I also sympathized with the poor bear. I was like, oh, poor bear. And I even named him. Like, I was like, oh, it's Bjorn. Let Bjorn out of the cage.
Aw.
And then, I see him on the table, like, no, Bjorn. Bjorn. He would have been my friend. I've been Cinderella or Snow White. Look, all my animal friends. Bjorn would have been with me. I'm sorry. Bjorn.
Yeah. And he was a cute little bear.
He was cute.
That's why I called him Bjorn. Because they're like, are we not going to talk about the bear? I'm going to talk about the bear. Listen, it is a brown bear, and this is where he lives. And it looks like they've been feeding him all nice. And, because look at his fat.
He had very shiny fur.
Yes,
He had very shiny fur. And I would it's like, he's not a pet, Karen. If not a pet, why pet shape?
Exactly. All furry things are pet shaped.
Yeah, my dumbass would have let him free. Like, come on, Bjorn. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's walk around.
I like how like at the beginning of the film they're like, what about the bear? And they're like, it's a bear. And
Yeah.
just kept going. Yeah. I mean, obviously, like their relationship was rocky at the beginning. And it just everything that was happening just made it worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And in it getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, you saw Christian's basically his character arc get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And it led into his relationship with his friends, where you could already see there was tension at the beginning with like they were tired of hearing him bitch about his girlfriend, and they were tired of him like kind of scamming them a little bit. And then you get into later on in the story, you hear how much they loathe the fact that he just, he writes people's coattails, and he's lazy, and he's a dick douche. And but you can just all of that to then having these like horrific things start happening, and things just keep getting worse, and more horrific things happen, and things keep getting worse, and it gets to the point where everything is hanging on by a thread, and he makes that one final bad decision of going and sleeping with her instead of paying attention to Dani, and it like boom, everything goes over, and we get the ending that we get, and he gets what he had it coming. He had it coming. He only had himself to blame. We've been very singy tonight.
He had it coming. He had it coming. But also I felt kind of bad for the two willing sacrifices. They gave him like the your sap. It's like you shouldn't feel any pain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The man felt pain.
Yeah. Homeboy did feel pain. Well,
Yeah,
and I think it was interesting though, because they gave them both the same thing, but you could see that they had the promise that was given to the one was what the other had. So like the guy who felt the pain was told that he wouldn't feel it, or he was told that he wouldn't care, but he felt it.
Oh, yeah.
And he can't, like, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, and the other one was like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
on fire. So I thought that was interesting that it's like what they promised, it kind of swapped.
Yeah.
But I'm interested to find out like the real reason why those two volunteered. Because I feel like it wasn't like a pure volunteering. I feel like there was like a little coercion in there.
I
And
believe, like,
I'm wondering if it was because Ulf had that like massive like emotional reaction to Numbnuts Mark peeing on the ancestral tree. And it was like kind of out of character for their community, the way he responded. Like, I'm not saying it's not like how I would have, like, I probably would have responded the same way had I had like that, like emotional connection to the tree, but it was a little extreme. And then you had the other guy who was on the same kind of mission as Pele, and he didn't bring any new blood.
Right.
As in like reproduction wise, new blood. So I'm wondering if that is why he volunteered, because he was like, I done fucked up my mission, so this is how I can make up for it.
See, that's how I saw his, because the two he brought did not work out.
No.
Yeah.
And so, I think that's why he volunteered faithfully to be that sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't know. I thought the dude that was like yelling at Mark was an older gentleman.
Yeah.
I
It
didn't
was Ulf.
But I might have to rewatch again.
Yeah, it was Ulf, who I wouldn't say he was old, but he was older. I think he like because they broke it down like you're a child until you're 18, and then 18 to 36 was like your reproductive years. 36 to 54 was your working years.
Mentor.
And then 55 to
your working years,
your dead years. I think he was in the working years. So I think he was in that like 37 to 54, if that makes sense. So like he might have looked old, but he wasn't an elder, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which that 7-hour thing has like a whole thing about him and his connection to the girl who was kind of seducing Mark, that there was maybe a connection where like he was her dad. So it was interesting.
Yeah.
You guys will have to check
I'm definitely
that
gonna check it out.
So what else did you guys want to talk about when it comes to this film?
The mating ritual.
Okay.
That was kind of weird.
That was very strange, but it was kind of cool at the same time. I mean,
I don't know. I probably have like performing issues. I'm like, a lot of people watching me.
I think that was the drug that he was on, was like a Viagra of some sort.
It also kind of reminded me of the zombie drug like that they blew on the one guy in that movie, Wes Craven movie, because he was kind of like had to do what they had to do. He had to do. He didn't really have any control of what he had to do. It's not the exact one, but it's like it was definitely
I don't think
mind
it was
control.
mind control. I don't think it was mind controlling. I think he already wanted to do it, and it was just like it may have lowered his inhibitions, but I think I don't think it was controlling him in any way, shape, or form, other than maybe making sure he was upright.
True.
I think that's the only thing that, because if you really think about it, a lot of their things, even when it comes to like the sacrifices, you still have to do it. You know what I mean? Like they can't
force you to do it. You have to.
Like you have to, like, they're gonna like push you along and maybe like encourage you, but at the end of the day, you still have to take the step forward. And he took multiple steps forward.
Yeah, but that ritual was something else.
Oh yeah. I won't lie. I kind of liked the fact that all the ladies were natural.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
That was
beautiful.
It was
like you didn't see a toned body anywhere. You saw mothers.
Yes.
And I think one of them was pregnant too.
You saw
old
real
ladies, young ladies, the whole nine. And I'm sorry, that had to have been the most uncomfortable bed.
Right?
I know, right?
Doing it on. And for your first time too, like what if like a flower stem like was hitting the wrong spot?
Yeah, stuck up your butt or something.
Ugh. What did you think about the mating ceremony, Caron?
It was I like the fact that there were different women, different ages, helping her through this. But at the same time, it was kind of weird. I mean, there was like how many ladies in there? And you're supposed to like, deflower this young lady because she got pants license. That's what PLA said. Like, yeah, she was old enough and they gave her pants license. Huh? That was weird on itself, but okay.
I think there was 20 women in there.
And the fact that they're vocalizing all at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Which mirrors, like, Dani and the other girls vocalizing her pain. Yeah. Well, one was vocalizing pain, the other one was vocalizing pleasure. And it was...
Death and life?
It was, yeah. In a way, it was kind of cathartic because she came to terms with how everything's going to end. Because she knew at that point, her and Christian were over.
Yeah.
I mean, and,
he even had a lady pushing his butt.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did at one point. I was like, okay.
Yeah. My roommate Becker was, what am I watching? I'm like, just go with the flow.
Yeah.
Yeah, go with the flow.
Just when you don't fuck a girl right, this is what's going to happen.
An old lady's going to come.
It's like, it can be a ceremony, like, oh my God. Just, what if like somebody's like, we're gonna do that ceremony for the first time. What? Can you imagine the dude coming into her house and there's like naked women?
Well, think about it like this. Think about it like this though. If homegirl wasn't what he really wanted and wouldn't get like the blood a pumping, all he had to do was look up and see the one that he did like and did get him all aroused. And then he's got all these ladies moaning and groaning. I could see it possibly helping if the guy is self-centered enough. And
sure.
Christian was pretty self-centered. So, I mean, I know he was still freaking out. However,
he was probably like, ooh, I'm making all these ladies moan and groan.
He's like, I don't know what's going on, but I guess they like it. Karen, was there anything else that you wanted to touch on that we didn't talk about?
But he had it coming. He had it coming.
He only had himself to blame.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah. I mean, there was a lot of flower symbology going on.
Yeah.
Up in there.
Yeah.
Life and death. I want to know how heavy that dress was, though.
Yeah.
It was heavy. It was heavy. I remember Florence was in an interview about it and she's like, oh yeah, no, that thing was hot and it was heavy and it was middle of summer and hungry. And she goes, I was sweating. she's like, I was so hungry afterwards, which I love the fact that she's such an eater. I want to talk about one more thing, which is the special effects and the blood and the guts and like all that kind of stuff. Like, I think the most like really like grisly, gruesome kind of thing was the elderly couple.
Oh yeah.
And their heads.
Yeah.
That was so good looking.
I know, it was beautiful.
It was.
Like, it was grotesque and I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
And then when he had to get him with the hammer afterwards because he wasn't totally dead and it was like, ooh.
Yeah, he didn't fall right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of tragic.
But the effects in this was a fan. I mean, I couldn't find the flaw, well, except for the breathing lungs, but other than that, it was great. Even the makeup for that kid that was so seamless. I mean, you could tell that they really, really worked on it. And the cinematography and the angles you couldn't even see the
Oh, yeah.
seam. And I usually can spot like seams and everything. Nothing. It was great.
Yeah, no,
And yay. Yeah. Yay. More real fake blood on this one. 100%.
yeah.
I was kind of disappointed in the bear face when they have him like laid up on the table. I was like, you could have done his face a little bit better. But when they put it on, Christian, I was like, okay, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. I actually liked how Christian looked in it.
Mhm.
I honestly, they really did knock it out of the park when it came to the special effects. Like,
Yes.
there was just so much that I absolutely loved. Like, even Mark's skin that they used, kind of like in a Leatherface fashion. Like, they did a really good job with it. It was one of those deals of like, I can tell that it was on the rubber side, but if you don't know special effects, you're gonna think
You
that's
don't
real
know.
skin.
Mhm.
Like, you're gonna be like, how did they get that? Because that looks a little
Yeah.
too real. But they did a really, really, really good job in the making of like the film and like the attention to details when it came to that stuff. Yeah. I thought all the kills in this movie were fantastic. I think they did a fantastic job with the kills. Even though we didn't see quite a few of them.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them were off camera, but still really
Yeah.
well made. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So without further ado, I guess it is time for us to do our final thoughts on this one. You ladies ready?
Yeah.
All righty. Lisa, start us off. What are your final thoughts and how many skulls? And for any new listeners, we do 5 skulls. 1 because they at least tried, and 5 because it was amazing. So anywhere in between.
All right. My final thoughts is I really suggest this movie to everyone.
Mhm.
It's culturally, it's folklore, it's a great film. It just seems to put you in another world and unsettle you by how it's filmed and everything. The special effects were phenomenal, 100%. And I give it a 5 out of 5 skulls because I watch it like every couple months to see if I can see more details.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely a rewatchable one.
Yeah, it's definitely a rewatchable. I loved it. And I just ordered the whole Midsommar book collection thing that you could get off of this one site. So
Cool.
it's a big yellow book and everything. Yeah, I ordered it because I'm like, I need it for my collection. So
Yeah. Karen, how about you?
Give it 5 skulls out of 5. If you like folk horror or art house horror, then this is up your alley. Every single shot was done beautifully. The story, the fairy tale, amazing. The special effects, chef's kiss. So yeah, go watch it. Go see it. Rent
Yeah.
it.
Buy it.
Buy it.
buy it.
Yeah, no, this is definitely a 5 skull for me. This was the first time I noticed Florence Pugh in anything, and I fell in love with her. I also saw this before I saw Hereditary. So this was, I think, my first, I could be wrong on that, but I think this was also my first introduction for Ari. And there is nothing about this film that I don't thoroughly love. I love the attention to detail from the way that they shot it, from the tapestries and the paintings and the small little details of like the runes that are on the drawing that Pele did of Dani for her birthday are the same runes that are on her dress at the end of the film. I love all the little details. And Ari did a great job incorporating fairy tale and folklore and just history together to create this story of a breakup story. I mean, this is just one giant breakup. And it pulls you and it makes you feel convicted. It makes you feel empathy. It makes you feel all sorts of crazy things. And at the end of the day, when you walk out of that film, you are smiling like Dani is smiling. And it's just that well made. So, our fellow horrorholics, our lovely little ghouls, what about you? What was your favorite part of Midsommar? Did you think it was a knockoff of The Wicker Man, or did you actually find it to be as deep and enlightening as we did? Come tell us on our social media. We are on all the things at Earth Station Boo. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, X, Threads, Blue Sky. We have a kick-ass Facebook group, and we are on Discord. You can also subscribe and rate us wherever you listen to podcasts, including Apple, Google, and Spotify. And don't forget to check out our YouTube. Comment, tell us things, because we respond back, I promise. But ladies, where can they find you, Lisa?
Oh, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and now back on TikTok.
Groovy.
There you have it. That's where you can find me.
Rock on. Karen, where can they find you?
Facebook, Instagram, Threads, X, formerly known as Twitter, TikTok, and Reddit.
And I am Shannon. You can find me on all the things at Spill Tea Wine Media Mind. And as always, thank you, our lovely little ghouls and fellow horrorholics. It means the world to us for every time you guys share the podcast, every like, every listen. Your support means the world to us. So thank you so, so much. So stay spooky, our lovely little ghouls. And this has been the Spooky and Kooky podcast of Earth Station Boo.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping for the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.